Let's learn Hunter's Chorus by Weber. I'll play it to you first of all. So this is a romantic piece, and the ideals of Romanticism are, as an art, where feeling took precedence over form and heart over head. In their themes, composers often looked to folklore and the supernatural for inspiration. The Hunter's Chorus is from Weber's opera Der Freischütz, or The Free Shooter. This is a supernatural German opera depicting powerfully the struggle between good and evil. The basic plot is a love triangle, if you like. Max, who's a forester, is in love with Agatha. Max is also the region's best shot, but in a shooting competition he has been defeated. He's shot badly, but what he doesn't know is that another forester, Casper, had made a little deal with the devil on the side to make him shoot badly. But the problem is, the next day there's another shooting competition, and Max is up against his rival for Agatha's hand, who had just beat him in the first day's shooting competition. And so Max is tempted by Casper telling him to go and make a deal with the devil. But in the end, virtue wins through. And this particular piece, the Hunter's Chorus, comes in the third act of this opera, and it announces the start of the shooting competition for Agatha's hand. Agatha is representing good. She's had a dream about what happens in the shooting competition, and she has prayed to God to look after Max and his soul. When we're playing this piece, there's a lot of things which we could use as a possible warm-up. There are finger patterns. There are a lot of scales in this which are actually quite hard and quite fast. And so finger pattern scales are useful to get your hand into the shape of what you're actually trying to play. So the piece is in G major, but on the A string we have this pattern of A, 1, low 2, as in G major, 3. Now, what I normally do is, although the first phrase went, I'm actually just going to play that pattern down the way. So 3, 2, 1, open, then up. The reason for playing scales, when you see them going up the way in a linear way, don't always play them from the bottom to the top. Play them from the top to the bottom, because then when we get the balance of the left hand with this top finger in a balanced position, it's much better and easier to play quickly. There's another finger pattern in this which uses a high 2 as well, and I'm going to play from 4 on the A, so I put my 4 down and then I'm going to go down the way. Then open the A. Now I go back up. So the 4 has given me the balance of it. So I'm just getting used to the pattern of the fingers. I do it separate bows, and then as I get faster, then I start to add the slur into it. Another part of it, outside of just the balance of your hands and the scale patterns or the finger patterns that we use, is the use of G major and its arpeggio. There's a lot of G major arpeggio in this. So I'm just going to look at that. So 3 on the D string, and I'm going to play Piccadilly Circus. 3 on the D, 1 on the A, 1 stays down, but I put 3 on the A. 1 still stays down on the A, but I put low 2 on the E. Back to the 3, 1, and 3 on the D. So if I play that just single bows, it goes like this: 3, 1, 3, low 2. And we're going to try an idea that we did in a previous video where we improvised on that. So I'm going to make up a tune just using those notes. So we could have... So it's just a little improvisation around that G major arpeggio. It's a nice way of feeling very comfortable with those finger patterns. So that's possible warm-ups. And now we look at the piece itself. I'm not going to start right at the very beginning. I'm going to start in a section which is depicting a hunt, basically. Whatever your views of hunting or not, I'm quite interested by it. I actually have a beagle that was from a hunting pack but didn't want to hunt. And so this is a different world, a world that I'm interested in. You have to imagine that the huntsmen are on horseback. So here is the horse galloping. So that's actually bar 21. And it's not enough. The huntsman wants to go faster. The dogs have obviously got the scent and know where things are and are barking. So here we go a little bit. So they dig their heels into the horse a little bit to make them gallop even faster. So this is just the dig. Then the horse goes even quicker, galloping. Even faster. So we can see how the music's telling a story. It can be whatever story you imagine in your head. The interesting thing about it is the use of accents. Accents were... you have to try and understand that at this period of time, composers are beginning to develop ideas of how to express what they want to happen in a piece of music. An accent isn't just an emphasis on the beginning of a note. At this time, it could be the emphasis on the beginning of the note, or a diminuendo, or a combination of both. So I've seen scores by Wagner where he puts a small accent and then the long one after it, which is trying to tell us, you know, make the emphasis and then diminuendo down this actual passage. In this case, we have quite a few accents written, and they're different. Each one is slightly different. So when I'm playing this, where they're digging their heels into the horse, I see that more as a diminuendo. So a little loud, then getting less. I'll do it again. Ready, go. But when I hear the horn cry, which is... I see those as much more of an emphasis. So it's excitement. So the first note, I give a little bit of a push with my thumb. And on the up bow, I give a little push. So we can see that there's articulation markings which are trying to tell us things about this story. And we've got to be aware of how we want to interpret these particular markings. So let's look at the very beginning of this piece. And when I'm learning it, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the semiquaver passages where there are 4 semiquavers slurred together. So I'm going to take the first one in bar 1, and it goes 3 on the D, open A, 1, low 2, and then 3. So I'm going to get comfortable with that. And I could go the other way. Now, once I've got that working, I'm going to think, okay, so which direction of bow is it? It's an up bow. 4 notes slurred, I'm going to do stop slurs. So I go. Now, first of all, what I'm going to do is divide my bow into quarters and do a quarter for each note. So, next, I'm going to think, well, what's happening in this piece? Clearly, the music's going somewhere, and it's going to that top note. So basically, the notes are... It's that arpeggio figure, but with a little decoration in it. So it's going to crescendo. So now I'm going to divide my bow with little, a bit more, and the most. So it's going to crescendo. And I'll do that again. And when these stop slurs are working, now I'm going to try and do it smooth. So no 4 notes are ever the same. I keep saying that. When I look at the next combination of 4 semiquavers in a slur, which is in bar 4, it's 1 on the A string, low 2, 1, open, 3. Now that's coming to the end of a phrase. So it's a 4-bar phrase, the first section. So 1, 2, 1, open. Now this one starts on a down bow and it's going to diminuendo. So I'm going to do the opposite. It's going to be more, less, less, least. And again. Now I do it smooth. So we've got these differences in shaping of the 4 semiquaver passages. There's another issue in these semiquaver passages which I find interesting, which is in bar 15, for instance, you have 4 semiquavers with a lot of string crossing involved. So the actual passage is going to go... So I'm going to play the open strings first of all. So it's A, A, D, A, A. Now there's 1 note on the D string, so I'm just going to use what we call inside the hand string crossing, use my fingers and wrist just to nibble over. Nibble. So I'm kind of picking the bow up with my fingers and letting it just rock over. I'm actually letting the bow do the work. It's an interesting thing. We might think that we control the bow. No, it's more like when we're walking. When we walk, we put 1 foot in front of ourselves and we move our weight forward, and then we catch ourselves with the foot landing. And then we put the next foot forward and we catch ourselves as we move forward. So you're doing the same. Let the weight of the bow take the bow over and just catch it with your pinky in particular, with the fingers of your bow. So we've got, let it go over, catch it. Now if I do that with a smooth bow, it goes A, A, D, A. I'm going to try that up bow as well because it's required in both directions of the bow. So A, catch. Now I'm going to try it with stop slurs using the fingers. So it goes 1 on the A, open A, 3 goes down on the D on its own, so an independent 3, let the bow catch over, back to A. I'll do that again. up bow. And again. And now do it smooth. And do it again. And the other way. And again. So you might find that one direction is slightly harder than the other. I found the up bow one slightly harder to do than the down bow one for some reason. So I would practice that a little bit more. So those are the 4 note sections, and they need to be practiced separately because the fingers are moving quite quickly. It's a little bit like in Gosset Gavotte. There's a little semiquaver passage which is fast fingers. So we practice that on its own. Now I'm going to put things together in the piece. I've explained a lot of times about how music has a basic melody and then we're finding the joining notes in a piece. This is exactly the same. So if I just play the basic melody, I have an open D as an upbeat. It's like in book 1 when you're playing Happy Farmer. It's the same idea of this upbeat figure. And it's slightly lifted. So I place the bow on the D and I lift. And then I place the bow again on the D string and have only Mr. 3 on it, and I catch the string. Now catching the string is an important concept. With the bow on the string, if I just pinch with my thumb and press a little bit with my first finger, and then I can pull that string backwards and forwards. Now that's catching the string. When I want to play this note, I'm going to release that pressure that I have on the bow immediately that I move the bow. And I get a little sound or a pop at the beginning of the stroke. And it gives it a really nice, clear, articulated beginning. So I'm going to try and catch that. In the original score, there is an accent actually on that first crotchet. In Dr. Suzuki's part, he didn't put those accents in, but in the original there was. Funnily enough, in the original, the first note is tied. It's actually in the original, it would go. It's not a re-articulated note. So, lift, catch. Now I have to catch again so that we can hear the difference between one G and the next G. So it's a little pinch with the thumb and then releasing as soon as I move the bow. We're going to do more of that in Long Long Ago, which comes later. But this is the first point where we can start to explore and experiment and be curious about it. There's other pieces in book 1 that we've used where we've probably been playing around with it a little bit and trying to get used to this feel. The interesting thing is, try and be aware of what happens in your bow, because when I lift and then catch, when I'm catching, I can feel the hair bend around the string. Now this is important because each part of the bow has a different property. Down at the heel, it's the hair that bends when I put pressure into the bow. In the middle of the bow, it's the hair and the middle of the stick that bend. When I'm at the tip, it's the stick in the middle of the bow that bends. And it's really important to start to feel what the properties of your bow are as you use the bow. So this one is about getting the hair to curl round the strings. So I play the open D, 3 on the D on its own, catch the string, play. Catch the string again, we do our semiquavers, 3, open A, 1, low 2, 3 with a crescendo. And then 1, 1. So that's the first bar. Now I said that this has a basic melody, and the basic melody is this. So that's the first phrase. It goes. Now that's helped me because it's made me understand how I want to shape the phrase. So I've got dum da, I want to get louder, ya da da to that note, da, less on the next note, then less, da, more, da, da, da. So we're getting this beautiful shape to the melody now. I'll show you just once more. So. And now I'm just going to fit the extra notes into it to try and make those joins, to make that pattern even more pronounced and obvious and smooth. So we've got. Now each one of these Mr. 1s on the A, louder then softer. This first one is slightly softer, then louder, loud, then getting soft. Now I stopped in the middle of the bow because the next D is another upbeat, same as the beginning. But this time it goes somewhere different. It's a harmonic difference. It goes to D major from G major, so it goes to the dominant. Now that's important because we've had to use a C sharp. So it's a high 2 on the A string. And if you think back to the warm-up, we did that finger pattern. So A, 3, high 2, 4, 3. Now the end of that phrase, I've got a crotchet, but I don't use a whole bow in it. This is very similar, as I said, to Happy Farmer. When we played Happy Farmer, we went... long note here, but only half a bow. We saved because we're down at the low half. So we're really exploring how we use the bow. So long notes don't necessarily have to use whole bows. This is the same here. So we have, and it's a little bow. Now it would actually start up bow, so little bow. Now I'm in the right part of the bow to play the next upbeat. A, then 1. 1. Then 3 on the D. Now I've kept the 1 down on the A, just like in my arpeggio, because I'm going to go to a low 2 on the A string. You might say, well, where does that low 2 come in? Well, it's a dominant 7th chord. So you have da, ya, da. So we're going into the dominant 7th world, okay? So here we go. We play A, 1 on the A, leave the 1 down, play 3 on the D, put the 2 right beside the 1, then open A, half the bow, because we've got another upbeat. Whole bow. To the middle, so that now I'm in the right part to go. So I'm always conscious of where I am at the end of a phrase so that I'm in the right place for the upbeat that then follows it. When I'm learning this piece, a lot of it is repeated. A lot of the gestures are repeated. So for instance, this. These are just single notes, they're fine. The next phrase went same, but this time it's a low 2 on the A. I think the really important part of it is listen to the recording of this piece as many times as you can so that you've got this tune in your inner ear, and then that melody in your ear will guide your fingers as to where they should be going. So the first phrase is 4 bars, the next phrase is 4 bars, the next phrase is 4 bars, the next phrase is 8 bars. So this is an 8-bar phrase. For the next upbeat, and this is where the horse scene comes in. So we have the galloping horse, and in that galloping horse, we gradually get louder. We have accent, 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 accent. He's telling us to do something, which is the excitement is building. So I'm going to get slightly louder in each one. Dig your heels in. Now you're on your horse and it's galloping fast. So you've got down, bow, then up, down, up. So it actually depicts the movement of the rider on the horse as the horse is moving. So this one's interesting. To practice this, to get that low 2 in tune, what I do is I put 1 and 3 down on the A string. 1, 3, low 2 beside the 1. So I practice it a lot like that, but I'm going to eventually take the 1 away and use independent fingers because I want the speed, but I need to get the feel of the shape of the widening of my bass knuckles between these 2 fingers, between 2 and 3. So I'm going to practice the bowing first of all, which is going to go A, up. It's a little bit like a yo-yo effect. So it's energy, release, energy, release. So my elbows sink, then up in the release. And you can practice that with a scale. Like that. Okay, so now we've practiced the notes and the fingers, so we've got accuracy of that low 2. Now we're going to put it together with an independent finger. So we go 3, 2, then A. Lift, place, place. So whenever I lift the bow off the string, I place it again and relax my arm and shoulders. So and then we get the digging of the heels again. Then the galloping horse is going even faster. And now we hear the horn cry, which is signalling where the actual fox or the hare is. So here's the horn, it goes. And this has an accent. So this is a bite with the thumb, nibbles, and first finger catches the string. And we release immediately. And we do the same on this note. So we catch the string with the thumb and first finger and then release. So we go to the first time bar. There's a repeat in this one which I think is important to make it. So we go back to now we go to the second time bar. So we have 1 on the A, 3 on the D. But in the second time bar, we have an up, up bowing at the very end. So up, up, down. So that's basically the whole piece. It's quite simple, but maybe it's trying to depict the simplicity of a forester's life. I'm going to play you the whole piece once more so you get a feel for it. It's a very enjoyable piece to play. It's just a lot of fun. You can understand exactly why that opera that Weber wrote was so popular in its time and is still popular to this day. It has these lovely sort of folk-like melodies in it.